Season 7, Week 1 of the W&W Pokemon Draft League. I'm Caleb the Seagull Gulley, and joining with me casting tonight is Chris Moriarty Marks. Season 7 is finally starting. Are you excited to finally kick off this season, Chris?
Yeah, super excited to see a new batch of teams. Excited to see the new player coming in. Excited to see the return of the Zambia Zebstricas. Most importantly, I'm just excited to get back to these games. And excited to see these games play out again.
Absolutely, man. Every season's always a fun season. It's good to. It's been our longest off season, I think. Yet, we had an off season tournament play. We had a few weeks off. It's just, I got a little bit of nerves. Just getting ready for this, and it's just excitement, man. It's just exciting to be here. Exciting to finally get to do this. Get the cast again with you. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we go break down these teams and look at these teams that are going to kick us off?
No, I'm glad to be back doing this as well. But I think me and everybody else included are kind of just excited to see what we're looking at for today.
Yeah, so let's look at these teams. So our team sheets for Season 7, Week 1. From the Jersey City Jirachi, looking to get revenge for last season's title loss. From the GMAX tier, we're going to see Rillaboom, the new promoted and franchise Pokemon from Tier 1, Vaporeon, Tier 2, Mienshao, from Tier 3, we have Golurk, we have Magmortar, and Tier 4 rounding this team out is Grapplock. The defending Season 6 champions, the Nashville Ninetales, kicking off the season with the newly added Legend tier, Regigigas, the Tier 1 and franchise Pokemon, Primarina, Tier 2, Volcarona and Haxorus, Tier 3, Cantonian and Doug Trio, and from Tier 4, that ever-present Cottonee. Chris, awesome teams we have here. What is your first analysis?
Yeah, so two very interesting teams. Two of the strongest teams I think these guys can build. But one of the things that strikes me is why is Reggie Gigas here? Powerful Pokemon, great coming out of the Legend tier, but Jersey City has the most fighting types in the league, possibly in the league history. And Nashville, Ali has decided that in this team build of all of them, Reggie Gigas needs to come. So that seems like a kind of weird decision to me. But obviously, we know it puts out big damage. Even through that slow start, it can do a lot of damage.
Absolutely. But we talk about this Regigigas up against all these fighting types. There is this hidden little tier 4 that you and I both know about. This Cottonee has multiple championships for a reason. This guy with Prankster Worry Seed, I think, can take away that slow start, get that damage ramped up for this Regigigas, and he gets to just max and go. Very difficult to stop Regigigas when it's not hindered by slow start. So this Cottonee paired with this Regigigas, I think, is going to be the main game plan from Nashville. How does Jersey City stop it though?
I mean, the pretty obvious way to stop it is Prankster doesn't matter if you get fake outed.
True.
And Jersey City has double fake outs here with the Rillaboom and the Mienshao. And these two are actually a perfect pair for fake out cycling. Rillaboom setting that grassy terrain, Mienshao having that regenerator. You can fake out, U-turn, bring in the Rillaboom, fake out again, U-turn out, or just hard swap. This Mienshao is going to go back to full HP every time that it lives. And it's going to be a massive headache that Nashville's going to have to figure out, which is kind of funny because if we look at this, there's a lot of pieces that we saw from the last season, but
Yeah.
Mienshao and Magmortar in particular came from the Nashville side and played in the final. And then obviously the Vaporeon's still here for Jersey City, but interesting to see those change hands. But most importantly, again, this fake out cycling is a pretty good way to stop uh, that Cottonee Worry Seed Regigigas if it does Dynamax, just assuming that it's going to get it off. That's
Yeah.
going to waste a turn of Dynamax, and it's still going to do a lot of damage. Regigigas has insane stats, but not as much as it could, and it's not quite as lethal, especially given how kind of tanky the Jersey City team is.
Yeah, this Jersey City team is tanky. You're right about that. But once again, the Nashville Ninetales and Coach Ali building in pairs. We've already talked about this Cottony Reggie Gigas pairing and how potent it can be. Obviously, prone to fake out. But another pairing that could possibly be here is this Volcarona Haxorus. We usually see Volcarona as this big choice scarf Pokemon. But it does have access to this really interesting move with Rage Powder. So if there's no safety goggles from Jersey City, which I honestly don't expect because Volcarona is not known for being this big redirection Pokemon. But if you Rage Powder and Dragon Dance with this Haxorus +1 in both of its ridiculous attack stat and speed, this thing could be unchecked and could be something that could tear through this Jersey City team. Something that also is prone to fake out. You've already mentioned fake out could be problematic to the Cottony. It is problematic for redirection Volcarona, but the difference here is Haxorus still has respectable damage with or without the Dragon's Dance, and I believe would live most attacks coming its way, like the Gigas would. But you still get that one turn of setup. Obviously, it's better when you're not taking any kind of chip damage whatsoever. So something to watch for is maybe this Volcarona Haxorus duo is what I'm thinking, as well as the Reggie Gigas Cottony.
Yeah, I'm also interested. When I look at these teams, they both match up pretty well against each other. They've got pretty good answers. You know, there's good fighting types coming from Jersey City to deal with this Regigigas. They've got the Rillaboom that super threatens the Primarina and the Doug Trio. The Vaporeon pretty well deals with the Volcarona. The Magmortar absolutely horrifies the Cottony, right? But the one thing that's vaguely unchecked here is the Haxorus, which makes me, again, kind of think that this is the easiest win condition for Nashville, most likely, is to play towards that. You know, there's Vaporeon, who notoriously carries the Ice Beam. We've seen that season after season after season from Jersey. But I look at these pairs from Nashville, and for me, the easiest one to execute is the Volcarona Haxorus, but there's also a pairing that I know about that I think you probably do, but it's this Doug Trio Primarina. Doug Trio is an interesting Pokemon. If you go
Pokemon.
Look at the draft review, I have its Alolan form on my team for a reason. And Doug Trio gets some very weird moves like Sucker Punch, like Ally Switch, like Memento. But it also gets Sludge Wave for whatever reason.
Grass type coverage, man.
Yeah, it gets Sludge Wave. But you know who's happy to see Sludge Wave, oddly enough? Primarina. We know Ali, like many other people in this league, loves proccing his own weakness policy.
Yeah.
And Sludge Wave is a prime way to do that, guaranteed to hit everybody. If Alex had some kind of redirection, it would ignore that. So, Sludge Wave, fantastic way to set up Primarina. Yet another dynamic duo from Nashville. And, you know, kind of a way to hit back at that Rillaboom. But again, the Haxorus Volcarona just looks easier to execute. Doug Trio falls prey to the exact same thing of, but what if they fake out, right? If Jersey City just leads me in Shao Rillaboom, Primarina Doug Trio is so sad to be on the field.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. To answer the question I see in chat, the Gigas with no wheezing, we do have Cottony here. We're thinking with Worry Seed to remove that slow start. But to look at the next point I have here, we're going to look at the Jersey City side. We do see a Jersey City signature from Alex. Something we haven't talked much about is this Golurk with the ability No Guard. No Guard causing all moves to attack or all moves to hit, and it receives all moves as well. But there's this really interesting move with Dynamic Punch causing confusion. This move usually is 50 accuracy, it's 100 base power, but this guy with No Guard, it's guaranteed to hit, it's gonna cause confusion. We all know Alex loves to cause chaos within the battle. And so when you're dealing with confusion and possibly losing a turn by hitting yourself, it feels bad, but it's signature Alex that we can see. Other moves that this Golurk can benefit from is Rock Slide, always guaranteed to hit, so you can take a lot of flinches. He saw a lot of that in the semifinal, and he understands the power of flinching his opponent. Never having to worry about high horsepower missing missing. That 5% on a 95% accuracy move it feels bad when it misses, but not ever having to worry about that and being stabbed ground could be nice. Don't really see a ton of use for it in this matchup specifically, but it is stab. Stab moves always feel good to use. And another one that I think is an interesting move here is the Poltergeist, a base 110 power ghost move using the items against their opposing Pokemon. Something that you usually are a little bit worried about that 90% accuracy, if I remember that right off the top of my head.
Mhm.
But never having to worry about that missing is huge. So Golurk, is this tier 3? It's a tier 3 because it doesn't have always have the stats here, but something that I think Jersey City can really use to cause chaos with dynamic punch plus dynamic punching in the Gigas. Probably gonna feel pretty good unless you have a dark move or an ice punch. Golurk is gonna feel pretty good to max in front of Gigas, I think, tonight. But the fourth and final point I have about this matchup, and something we were talking about before this broadcast, Chris, was there's very little speed control here. Uh, there is no tailwind. There is no trick room. There's no like variance of weather like with chlorophyll or swift swim going on here. We purely have max strike and that's it. So Gigas doing max strike is going to slow down Jersey City, but they have Rillaboom with priority moves with Grassy Glide if that keeps terrain. So that may not be much of an impact here, but not a lot of speed control. So whatever the speed tiers are moving forward in this game is exactly what we're going to see. And so that's something I think is going to be interesting to track in this best of 3. Who's going to have speed control? Does it even matter? Is my main question here because there's not a whole lot of it. Obviously, neither team really seemed like it was important. They're fine with being very bulky and just who can hit harder. But Chris, as we're getting close to the 9 o'clock game time, let's talk predictions. We did this earlier with the overall team breakdowns of everybody's draft. Go ahead and kick us off there.
Yeah, so looking back at it, we'll start with the person who's not here to defend their answer. Nashville predicted a 2-1 in favor of themselves. Ali in the draft review kind of backed that up a little bit, but that was taking all 26 Pokemon, 13 from each team into perspective. But you and I are sitting here looking at the 6, and you predicted a 2-1 in favor of Nashville. How are
I
you
did.
feeling about that prediction now that we see the teams?
Well, I think Jersey City has a much clearer way to possibly win this. So I could be willing to flip, but I am going to stay at a 2-1 Nashville. I think this is going to be a very close game. Jersey City might take game 1 with fake out pressure. Nashville adapts, and then game 3 it might come down to does a confusion proc hit or not. And that's honestly, I think that's how close this series is. But you, sir, Chris, called the sweep for Nashville. How confident are you in a sweep tonight?
Yeah, I said 2-0. I'm a little shaken up by the Gigas making its appearance, but I kind of stand by what Ali's throwing down here. I think the Jersey City draft really kind of wasn't doing a whole lot for me. And Ali is just saying, hey, look, I've got these big threats. They're going to be issues. Can you deal with them? And I think this early on in the season, with some unfamiliarity with some of these pieces coming out of Jersey City, never really being the big fake out, rotating your Pokemon player. We've seen him grow over the seasons and get better at that. I think that's something he's going to need to do this season, and I don't think he's quite there yet. I'm going to hold on my 2-0.
Okay,
It
spicy.
it wouldn't surprise me to see Jersey pick up a game here at all. But I think Ali's just got good, consistent pieces that I'm confident he's got good game plans for. We know he's comfortable playing in pairs. That's what he's built here. Um, and I think he's going to nail it. So
Well, hey,
I'm going to stand by it.
yeah,
It's the week of
bold,
sweeps.
bold prediction. I still think this is a 2-1 in favor of Nashville. Very close series. We are at 9 o'clock. I don't see the game or stream live. Thank you to Hipster Brown Kid on Twitch. That is Ali, to allow us to use his stream while we cast this. Very thankful for that. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. Is there any kind of like sets you think might be unexpected you're going to see here, Chris?
I don't know about unexpected, but I'm interested to see if this grapple locked can get its signature move off on any of these bulkier Pokemon from Nashville. I think if the Primarina and the Gigas are sitting there maxed in front of it, um, and this grapple locked can get, I forget exactly the name of the move. Maybe you can help me out with that one. But
I think it's Octolock, something like that.
Octolock is what I was going to guess it was. So that's probably it. But just locking those Pokemon in, dropping their defensive stats every turn, and kind of just saying, yeah, you're going down pretty quick, Chief. To these Pokemon that you really want to Dynamax, you want to leave them on the field. If you take that setup turn, if you get your partner Pokemon fake outed, and the Grapple Lock gets that off, and you Dynamaxed, you're in for a hurt. So I'm interested to see if Jersey City can actually get that move off in particular. And I'm also curious to see if we see Choice Scarf Magmortar and
Hmm.
if it has Will-O-Wisp. Because if it does, and it's paired with that fake out and it lands, this Regigigas and this Haxorus are going to be incredibly sad to have those attacking stats cut in half.
Yeah, even if you
Um,
have Hexorus at +2, it's not going to feel great moving forward with those burns. So Magmortar is the big question mark. Nashville is familiar with that Choice Scarf set, so curious to see how that works. I do like the Grapple Lock. You and I both know close combat damage from any fighting type, regardless of tier, is significant. So maybe, and plus with those defense drops, we might be able to see some one shots pick up as in the supportive role. Something to watch for, I think, tonight. Same with that Mian Xiao with those close combats. And then with regenerator U-turn stuff you've already talked about, I think that's going to be something to, keep those supports topped off HP bar wise. I do think, you talked about Memento with this Doug trio. Is that something we see tonight? Willing to sacrifice the Pokemon for the stat drops?
I don't think this is one of those teams that you've got to do that against. There's nothing on the Jersey City roster looking at their full 13 that you're really scared of setting up on you. And so I don't think there's anything super key about dropping those stats, especially when you're expecting either this Latios or this Rillaboom to Dynamax in front of you, both of whom are more notorious for setting up terrain with their max moves and dropping your stats with things like the max strike or the max flutterby coming from the Rillaboom,
Hmm.
or the max mindstorms and the max whirlwinds coming off of the Latios. Maybe you're worried about the max quakes coming off of either one of these and
True.
just dropping stuff. But like, I don't think Memento really has a job to do here.
Yeah.
Looking at the team, so I doubt we see that.
Well,
Uh,
something from this Jersey City side that we didn't really touch upon before, but it does have two Pokemon that can learn coaching. Do we see coaching strats from Rillaboom to boost its attack and defense up here, and maybe with the Golurk? We do see the coaching with Protect happen quite frequently in the draft league, so something maybe to help withstand the Regigigas onslaught if it gets the Worry Seed to remove that slow start. Something that I'm going to be watching for, curious to see if it happens, uh, especially with this Mian Shao support. We know Nashville used it a lot last season, so maybe Jersey City just takes a page out of his own book.
yeah, I think we could see it. I think I'd be sad to see it. I don't think it's the correct play here. I think looking at these two matchups, what Jersey City is really going to need to do is get aggressive fast and stop the setup, which they are perfectly well equipped to do. So if they're stopping at first base to just set themselves up and get defensive early, that feels incorrect in the matchup to me, and I think that would pretty quickly lead to an L in at least that game.
Mhm.
Especially because talking about doing that in front of the Regigigas and talking about these different sets, one thing you've got to worry about is what is this Regigigas running? Normal types are notorious for learning all different sorts of moves, having insane coverage, and Regigigas is no exception. In the general competitive scene, a lot of the times what you see is protecting move. Obviously, your Giga Impact for the max strikes, biggest stab damage. And a lot of times you see the high horsepower just because it's the best coverage you typically have. And optional fourth move could be Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Darkest Lariat is a weird move that it gets that could be effective here against that Golurk. And some people do run it with Assault Vest for a more tankier variant and with 4 attacking moves, because the game plan is to just get rid of slow start, Dynamax it, and go crazy. So I don't know if we'll see 4 attacking moves on this Regigigas. We could, but it looks like we're starting to maybe cook towards getting into game.
We are.
Uh,
The stream on his end has finally gone live. We do have that footage pulled up. They are setting the code right now. So we do have a few minutes before we actually get to the team select and team preview. Curious to see what these opponents are going to look at and what they're going to see as possibly the carries going forward, and how they adapt. One of the questions I think that Jersey City has to answer here is, what moveset does this Primarina run? Is it a Liquid Voice variant? Is this something that we're going to see with a lot of damage with, using Psychic or Ice Beam? Does it have Hyper Voice, Weather Ball if it's using any kind of weather stuff, if this Volcano is more supportive? This Primarina can carry a lot of different moves, and also notably it can carry that Energy Ball to deal with this Vaporeon, which is something that I think could be beneficial if they get stuck in these 1v1s. We saw it in the finals in Game 4. I believe that's right, Game 4. And so that's just something I'm going to watch here moving forward. Is this what kind of moveset this Primarina run, and what's the positioning here? Any final thoughts? I think they're still searching. I don't see them going in the team preview or team yet.
Well, so. Speaking of team preview, let's play this out. Pick a team.
Okay.
Which one do you want?
Well, I'll take my old division partner, the Jersey City Jirachi, for this one.
Team preview. What 4 are you locking in for this game 1 if you are Jersey City Jirachi, and I'll take the Ninetales?
Yeah, so if I'm JCJ here and if I'm Alex, one of the things I think is the game plan here is build around Rillaboom, Vaporeon, and Mienshao. Those are the big 3, and then look at this Golurk, Magmortar, and Grapplock as the final piece here. And honestly, with looking at stuff, I'm probably more inclined to go double fighting and pick up this Grapplock for game 1, because I think I'm going to be anticipating Regigigas game 1.
Yeah, and I think I've kind of already tipped my hat at what I think the Nashville team should do. I lean towards opening this Volcarona Haxorus and having this Cottony Primarina in the back. Just set up this Haxorus, pivot through Cottony. Once Volcarona goes down, just spam the Rage Powders, let it get as set up as you can, and then go Dynamax Haxorus, bring this Cottony in, try to protect it, and then bring in this Primarina to clean up the end game. Just trying to look to take Rillaboom out as quickly as possible to secure that end game through Primarina. I think should be a solid game plan from Nashville, personally. But your thoughts on that as we do finally see them locking into their match?
Yes, we do see the code. We're about to bring up the game footage here in a brief minute. When we see team preview start, we'll go ahead and bring up the game footage for that. I need to actually, hopefully that will work. Actually, just to double check, I might go ahead and pull that up now. But something, it might be a good idea to double check. I believe it's working. We're going to double click, and it is actually. So there's the brief peek. Alex is actually deciding rules for the first time in how long?
Forever.
I
think last season was the first time ever that he did.
Yeah.
He made him.
I don't even think he had ranked rules for the first 6 seasons, I think, if that's correct.
Absolutely stupendous. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
But yep, we are getting into team preview. I'm excited to see what these guys pick. We are going to get a slight sneak peek at what Ali is thinking.
We are, and that is that Assault Vest.
Personally, I'm going to try to ignore that.
Yeah.
It is. We get to see items. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is it.
Expert Belt on the Volcarona, not Focus Sash. Interesting. If it does have that Rage Powder, that's kind of risky against double Fake Out.
It really is. The Focus Sash on Doug Trio. So I think the priority is this Primarina. And it looks like that's the direction he's going right now, which I think would be really good if you're But I think you really got to be worried about Rillaboom if you go this route.
Yeah, Rillaboom. Rillaboom Yinxiao opening from Jersey City is going to absolutely be a nightmare if that's the play, because Rillaboom could just Dynamax right back and go crazy at you instantly. But it looks like he's going to bring that Volcarona Haxorus duo in the back, sticking to his power pairs instead of pivoting this Cottony as a generic support.
Yeah, because that Cottony could be running like something like Fake Tears or Charm to cut down on the special defense with Fake Tears, or Charm to shut down any attack physical attackers. So really good support from Tier 4, and Eviolite on this thing with the proper defenses is surprisingly bulky. Something you and I are familiar with.
Yeah, can take some hits from Pokemon like this Vaporeon with that Ice Beam if you EV it correctly with this Eviolite.
Looks like
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
We are
He's
locked
letting
in.
that clock run down.
Yeah, all the way down
locked.
to 0-0. Here we go. Game 1 of Season 7. The Jersey City Jirachis versus the Nashville Ninetales. Alex versus Ali. Always an exciting best of 5 or best of 3 in this case because we're in the regular season. What are our leads? We're going to see the Grapplock and Vaporeon, the veteran from JCJ, and Regigigas Primarina, actually. Did we... What? Did we miss something?
I think we did, but this is even more exciting.
Oh, it's the slow start. I guess, is this a remake? Did Ali take too long, or is this a forfeit game 1?
I don't know, but it looks like he
a draw.
That maybe they're offering. They both surrendered, so it's a draw.
Interesting. So that's the loophole.
For me.
Yeah, that's a first within the league. 7 seasons in, we're almost a year into having this W&W Pokemon Draft League go on. that was maybe there was.
Real quick, I'm gonna ask the referee what went down there.
Can we get the referee in real fast just to get some insight, or I'll let you go investigate.
I'm just shooting him a message.
Yeah, this feels like you're Mike Pereira. Breaking things down.
So,
you're the commissioner.
Report: game actually bugged.
Yeah.
And Alex has to change a move on Magmortar to keep it legal according to the team sheet. Which Ali is offering.
Okay.
So
no open team sheet week 2.
Yep.
New rule coming forward.
Yes, and game bugged because we watched Ali select the Dugtrio and it gave him Regigigas, and Alex didn't want Vaporeon in front. He wanted the Rillaboom. So
very interesting.
A significant bug coming out of the game there, possibly from the clock running so low. Not really sure exactly what went down, but Alex is getting that team updated.
Yeah, I want to pull us back up to the team sheet page. We'll come back to this in-game overlay of things coming forward in here in a minute.
But we do have a good talking point. We know what the intended opening pairs were.
Yeah.
So we can kind of talk about it, but we were looking at the Dugtrio Primarina and the Rillaboom next to the Grapplocked.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that opening?
Scared to death of Grassy Glide here. Even if I guess you guaranteed your Sledge Wave because you have Focus Sash, because Dugtrio is ridiculously fast and sneaky fast, but you don't have redirection, so unless Primarina protects, Rillaboom could just go for Primarina and go for the KO, unless there's like Rindo Berry or something there, but we know it's weakness policy, so that's kind of out of question. And Grapplock,
Rillaboom could max here.
Yeah.
Is my first thought.
Yeah. And
okay, I didn't bring both of my fake outs, and I really want this fake out user to just go crazy. So I'm just going to max Rillaboom here, and that feels pretty powerful.
Yeah, but we are back in team preview. Are they running it back? Question mark.
This is a full remake that was offered and agreed upon by both players and the referee.
Okay.
So this is a brand new game 1. They're acting as if no game has been played. There was no information because both players had bugged Pokemon on the field. We don't know what they've openly discussed about their intent to open, but It does look like both players were treated as though they didn't select their team in time. Looking at what came out with
Yeah,
the grapple lock Vaporeon, Reggie Gigas Primarina, it treated both of them like they didn't lock the teams in
yeah.
time.
Which, if that was actually
Uh,
how game one played out, you talk about chaos.
yeah. Oh,
uh,
that would have been interesting. But it doesn't really matter. What we're looking at here is actually a change in
Changing tactic,
ideology coming
yeah.
off of Nashville. They're instead saying, hey, look, this Cottony Reggie Gigas idea might actually be better, especially if my opponent was trying to lead that Rillaboom. I think I like this better.
Yeah, that
But
clock
here he
running
goes,
down
changing his
again.
mind again.
Yeah, Ali constantly
Yep,
changing his mind on
dangerously
stuff. But
low.
here we go. Game one. Let's try it again. Scoreboard's back up. Jersey City versus Nashville Ninetales. Coach Alex versus Coach Ali. Always exciting, like we've already said. Are the leads going to be correct this time, and what are they? But
If not, I'm personally going to be frustrated. But
yeah, JCJ, Magmortar, and Mienshao, Nashville Ninetales, Volcarona, Haxorus. So here we go.
both teams switching it up.
Yes.
I like this.
Yeah. What are you thinking here, Chris?
I'm thinking Heatwave is scary, especially with that burn chance going towards the Haxorus, who we think might want to set up here, but we don't actually see the Rage Powder on this Volcarona, so that's kind of concerning almost.
Change the
But
setup with Quiver Dance instead.
Interesting Haxorus moveset. But looking at this, I kind of really like where JCJ is sitting here, and I think Ali probably needs to make a swap defensively.
Potentially. The clock is running down. Something we didn't talk about is Burning Jealousy Magmortar coming out. You know, if you boost, that is a burn. But we do see Mienshao with the Fake Out and Haxorus, so no setup. Magmortar with the Heat Wave. It's going to do respectable damage against Volcarona. Not very effective against Haxorus. Volcarona now with the Heat Wave coming out. Mienshao taking significant chunk, and the Haxorus flinching. Something we saw there we weren't expecting, this Magmortar moving in front of Volcarona.
Yep, that indicates to me that we are in fact looking at a Choice Scarf set.
Oh, quickly locking in our moves.
Here comes that Heat Wave, though.
A big crit on Haxorus. It leaves it at 2 HP. Volcarona with a returning Heat Wave. It connects. It will take the first KO of the season. Mienshao going down with the Volcarona on the board. Haxorus with Dragon Claw into Magmortar. We get a double KO from the Nashville side. JCJ down 2 Pokemon. Haxorus fainting to its own life orb. Goes out on its own terms. So the ref sheet's already a mess.
Yeah, wow. 3 KOs in the turn. Not at all what I was expecting, but a really good turn out of Nashville there to just clear the board on the other side, get control, bring in this Cottony. You get to see what both of the final threats are, and you can immediately start whittling those down for your Reggie Gigas in the back. The question is going to be, can it survive whatever the max is here? And we see this Golurk and this Rillaboom come out.
Yeah, really interesting here. Grassy terrain set. This Volcarona is super low, so it is actually probably within the grassy glide range, but this Cottony has other plans. Let's see what happens on this upcoming turn. This Golurk, Dynamic Punch Chaos incoming, maybe?
Quite possibly, but I'll leave with a very interesting tech here, bringing the Misty Terrain to say, hey, I'm going to get rid of that priority. Interested to see if this Rillaboom gets maxed here and if it is the G-Max version.
Volcarona protects. Rillaboom protects, so no maxes yet. Cottony with Misty Terrain, so no statuses. So Dynamic Punch, if it's even in the move set, is not going to cause any confusion. And Grassy Terrain being away, no priority. But Golurk with the Poltergeist does go into the protective Volcarona. So a whole lot of nothing. Terrain change. I think that's a win for Nashville with some tempo here.
Yeah, I think so. Interested to see. It's not a super dominant position, though. It feels pretty good, but this Rillaboom and Golurk are still putting on a lot of threats and not Dynamaxing from the JCJ side. I think was absolutely the correct play there. Just because He
Yeah.
has no idea what's in the back. But
Volcarona swapping out, the Reggie Gigas coming in. So we do see the fourth from Nashville for Jersey City. Slow start is activated. Can't get it going. We do see the Dynamax. Don't know who's who yet based off Pokeballs. I wasn't paying that close of attention, unfortunately. But the Max from
Pokeball usually
JCJ.
tells me starter.
Yeah, that's probably true. So it is the Rillaboom G-Max form. So a lot of damage with that G-Max drum solo possibly inbound. We'll see what happens though. But Cottonee, I'm a little ahead here. But Cottonee with Worry Seed into the Regigigas, getting rid of Slow Start. It now has Insomnia. Something that now immediately makes this Regigigas a threat. But Max Knuckle from the Rillaboom into Gigas knocks it down to 27 HP. Holy smokes, it was a crit. That makes sense. But the attack boost for Golurk and Rillaboom going to be massive here. What does the Golurk do to round up this turn? With high horsepower into the Regigigas slot. Regigigas goes down, doesn't even get to do his job. Big turn from JCJ.
Huge turn from JCJ, but what a blunder from Nashville. Free swapping the Gigasin for I could not tell you what reason. Maybe just scared of the Golurk high horsepower going first. But yeah, you gotta question that swap right there. That lost every ounce of tempo that he had just done such a great job of earning that turn before. And now this Rillaboom and Golurk are in a fantastic position. There's no HP left on this Volcarona.
Yeah, 20 HP, Dynamax going into 40 HP. Probably not going to be enough to survive here. It will outspeed both Pokemon, no, but the problem is we don't see an attacking move on this Cottonee. But Volcarona with the max 40 HP, as I already mentioned, will it be enough to pick up a KO here? But Cottonee with Charm drops that attack stat by 2 stages on this Rillaboom. Oh no, Golurk actually. I've miscalled that. But Volcarona with the max flare into Rillaboom. Is it enough? It's so close. Holy cow.
Yeah. A lot of damage, but not enough. And now you got to deal with the return damage.
Yeah, here comes the Max Quake. Max Quake into the Volcarona will be enough to pick up Volcarona. So Rillaboom on the board with his second turn of Dynamax. Will the Golurk have enough damage here? Yeah, -1. I don't know if it'll be enough to get rid of this Cottonee, but this does look like Jersey City has this in the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Jersey City is sitting absolutely pretty. I don't think we saw a single attacking move on this Cottonee, so at this point, bit of a formality. That
Another
Dynamic Punch
crit,
comes
though.
out.
But Dynamic
when your
Punch,
whole team has scope lens.
Yes, basically. But Cottonee here gonna charm everybody to death. That's a lot of PPS to get through before it starts struggling. Golurk, we do see the Max Guard. So Rillaboom gonna stay up. We already know that, but Charm blocked by Max Guard. Poltergeist, but Cottonee's gonna get attacked by the Eviolite. It should be enough to pick this up. Well, maybe not. This is Eviolite. 19 HP left over. Great game one from JCJ.
Yeah, JCJ played that about as perfectly as you could, and you really got to kind of scratch your head about that Volcarona switch. Letting it go absolutely felt like the correct play looking at it, and the results just proved the point. Maybe thinking he could get away with the swap because, it would be a Max Quake, or maybe just super confident that his opponent wasn't going to Dynamax there, but the reality is just wasn't correct. And that probably should have been a win for Nashville. So interested to see how mentally they recover from that and how well they keep it together.
But Rillaboom picking up that last KO for the series. With game one going to JCJ, makes you wonder what kind of adjustments are you going to have going forward?
I think you've got to get that start better. I think maybe it's hard to say. Without the Rage Powder and without Protect, it's kind of hard to figure out how to do that Volcarona Haxorus lead.
Yeah, that might have been a mistake.
But honestly, but I will say it doesn't look like we have the scoreboard on the in-game overlay. I don't know if that's supposed to be there.
Well, it is up there right now. Can you see that?
Nope.
No, it's showing that it's up here on my screen in Streamlabs. Uh, but we do have
Yes,
JC.
it is. Yeah, I think you need to switch their priority at the bottom.
Game footage is at the very bottom. That should be correct, isn't it?
Yeah, weird that it doesn't show up on stream. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, JCJ with a 1-game lead going into game 2. That team preview went by very fast while we were trying to figure out if we have technical difficulties. But JCJ up 1-0 over Nashville Ninetales with the chance to clean the series with the sweep right here. We're going to see in game 2 the Golurk and Mienshout from JCJ as the lead, and the Doug Trio Primarina from the Nashville Ninetales side. Chris, what happens next?
Primarina is very happy. I think you can just go for your big play here. Even if you don't get this fake out off, you have a great target in either one of these Pokemon. And that's fantastic. Also figured it out. My screen was oversized for some reason, so it is there.
Okay.
My screen was just zoomed. So
Okay.
we do have the overlay correct.
All right, we do have the max coming from the Nashville Ninetales. It is the Primarina as expected. Ready to be large and in charge is its famous nickname within the league. Ready to wreak some havoc here to even the season series up at 1 apiece. But Mienshout with the fake out and the Primarina does a little bit of damage. Doug Trio with the Sludge Wave. We now learn what that is, probably from the Jersey City side. We see weakness policy proccing at +2. Primarina, this is going to be a lot of damage, but we do get the poison on the Mienshao, so a lucky roll once again. But Primarina, Max Geyser into the Golurk. I would be surprised if this thing lives. It's gone. Primarina on the board.
With the Sludge Wave guaranteeing that even if there's a Focus Sash, there's no way that Golurk was ever going to live. Now you've got the rain. This Primarina is in prime position to take over the game, and if you're Jersey City, you better have Rillaboom and you better bring it out right now.
Yep. Yeah, that Mienshao also taking poison damage, going to rack up over time. Something to watch for. It may not be impactful now, but Grapple Lock coming out from the Jersey City Jirachis. We might be missing the Rillaboom potentially.
That, or he's just really confident this Grapple Lock is going to be able to get that signature move off that we discussed before with the Octolock. I don't think it's super likely, but maybe that's the game plan here. Maybe he's trying to save the Rillaboom for late game, but talking about the poison on the Mienshao, kind of lucky to not poison your own Primarina there as well, though.
True, without Misty Terrain, that is a risk you take. But Doug Trio with Rock Slide going possibly for some chip damage and some flinches. Not a lot of damage, but we might see a flinch. But Mienshao with the U-turn. So here is the swap that we were maybe expecting to see. Sizable damage done to Doug Trio. Is this the Rillaboom? We're about to find out, though.
Oh, I sure hope it is.
It is Rillaboom. Rillaboom does come back. Grassy Terrain is here. That is going to exert a ton of pressure against these two Pokemon. Primarina is under a lot of threat, but Primarina with Max Starfall going to get the terrain change into the Grapple Lock. Will it be enough to pick it up? Absolutely at +2. What am I kidding? Even thinking that anything can survive right now. But with Misty Terrain active, no more statuses and no more Grassy Terrain. So, the Rillaboom, still a lot of pressure, but no more priority.
Yeah, I think without that priority, you're kind of a bit sad here. The most you can do in terms of priority is fake out if you have it. Mienshao coming back out, getting that big heal, but still being poisoned means that it going down is a bit of an inevitability. 4 versus 2. Still having Dynamax on the JCJ side is
and here
big,
it comes. The Pokeball again, which we have decided is the Rillaboom. I would be surprised if it's Mienshao, but Rillaboom Dynamaxing here is the bet, and it is the G-Max Rillaboom. Will it be enough to right the ship and pull off the Game 2 win? It was last time, but I think it's a bigger uphill climb this time around.
Yeah, this Rillaboom's got a whole lot of work to do to get through 4
Yeah.
Pokemon, but we do see the fake out come out from this
Big
Moonshell.
fake out. G-Max Drum Slow into Primarina. It will be enough to pick up the KO. So 2 turns of Dynamax from Nashville. Rillaboom back in control with a big KO from Momentum for JCJ. And no really action happening from the JCJ side because of the flinch from the fake out. There is the Poison Chip. Here we go. We're in the rain. Rillaboom likes that. What are you thinking if you're Nashville?
You're thinking, man, I wish my Primarina was faster than a Rillaboom. But I think Haxor's coming in here is still going to do okay. You've really got to stall out this Dynamax at this point, which
2
I
turns to
kind
go.
of would have leaned towards the Volcarona because it actually had Protect. But gonna look for this Memento into hopefully some damage.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you've got to try and stall this out, and I don't know if this is my favorite way to do it. Maybe this is hoping that without that fake out pressure anymore, this Memento can really keep Haxorus safe, and then you bring in that more threatening Volcarona closer to the rain expiration.
Right. I think that's the big key here with the weather going on. But you do have bug moves on Volcarona, so you do have a way to hit this Rillaboom without needing fire. So that's kind of something to watch for. But Dugtrio using the Memento, it's sacrificing its own HP bar, but Rillaboom's attack harshly falls, and so does its special attack. Going down 2 stages, Dugtrio faints for the fact of using the turn. Or the move. Haxorus with close combat in the Mian Shout will be enough to pick it up. So -2 with the Rillaboom, but Haxorus at -1 in both of its defenses is going to make some interesting damage rolls going forward. Life Orb chip happening. Max Knuckle from Rillaboom into the Haxorus. A decent chunk. We'll get everybody back up to -1 on the JCJ side. So interesting turn dynamics going on now. One more turn of Dynamax.
One more turn of Dynamax. Volcarona is here. It has the Protect. JCJ has to get the targeting right here. But if you get that next Max Knuckle off into this Haxorus and you're something like the AV Rillaboom, you can probably take one Heat Wave and maybe you do enough damage back. We know it doesn't have the Focus Sash. This game's really going to come down to the wire, but actually going for the Quiver Dance on this Volcarona instead of protecting it, saying, hey, man, you got to pick one.
Yeah, Quiver Dance coming in here. It's going to boost that special attack. It's going to boost the special defense and the speed, so the Volcarona is only faster and stronger. Dragon Claw in the Rillaboom. Decent little chunk. Max Quake into what slot are we going into here? Into the Volcarona. That's a big chunk of damage there. Takes it below half HP with the +1 special defense. So still -1, but the special defense boost is big. But rain ending gives Volcarona a chance to go fire or bug move moving forward.
Yeah, I think just going for the Bug Buzz here, the guaranteed accuracy, not messing with the Heat Wave at +1, you've got to like your chances. You know you're going to go first. Thinking about it, he's thinking about it. Maybe thinking Heat Wave because you can get that possible burn if it does live, if it is that Assault Vest. But
well, we did see Max Guard from Rillaboom, so we know it's not AV.
True, we do know that it's not Assault Vest. That is correct.
Yeah, Bug Buzz coming out and is enough to pick up Rillaboom. So with that, we go to game 3. Big comeback win for Nashville to even the game back up at 1 game apiece. Chris, game 3. Somebody's going to win 2 games to 1, but who on earth is it going to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think both of these teams are showing some new season jitters, not really being super intimately familiar with their team, kind of taking some of these slightly wonkier sets, making some weird decisions with swaps and who to bring in when and how to set up. But I think that was a much cleaner game from Nashville, and part of that came from going back to the Primarina, sticking to what got them where it got them last season, the thing that they went to in the finals versus this very same opponent. He knows how to use it, and it took care of the early game. He played the end of the game out really well using this this Volcarona Haxorus. We know he had Haxorus in season 2, another Pokemon that he's had before he's comfortable using. And I think you just go back to that if you're Nashville. I think you say, this worked. I'm not really sure what his answer to this would be. It kind of felt like what he had already was his best chance.
I do think
But if
changing the
you're
lead, though.
Jersey,
Yeah, I was thinking changing the lead up with Jersey City. We are in team preview right now. I do think if you were to keep it, if all things stay the same, and if that's what you're expecting Nashville to do, I think if you go Rillaboom with fake out with Mienshao, you really cause a lot of problems, and then you can pressure any Primarina leads. So you can Grassy Glide, fake out Doug Trio, or just go for the pure max at the Primarina. Is something I'm thinking if I'm Nashville right now. I think you're going to have to play around Rillaboom carrying the series here. Maybe have a Vaporeon in the back to deal with this Volcarona, as we're going to see is starting to become a problem.
yeah, this Volcarona is actually being a much bigger issue, especially with this expert belt at +1, basically guaranteed to kill this Rillaboom with either move if it lands. Lot of damage coming
Yeah.
from both of these teams. Actually, we saw that Mienshao U-turn doing so much into the Doug Trio.
Yep.
Um,
But
but
here we
it's
go.
time to find out.
It's game 3, baby. We love game 3s. We don't get a ton of them anymore. But Alex leading with Magmortar Grappalock. This is the lead that's going to win game 3 with Cottony Regigigas from Nashville showing up. Oh, here we go. We have a lot of layers here. Regigigas has to be worried about Grappalock. Magmortar here can deal with this Cottony. Who called who here?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's kind of what
I
I'm
don't
thinking.
know.
Oh, here we go. We're right
What?
off the bat. Maxing from the Nashville Ninetales side. We're taking no time with the selection of the moves. Regigigas gets its max, first one of the season. Will it be enough to carry this game 3? Most likely, the Cottony is going to set him up because that would be silly not to. Cottony with the Worry Seed takes that slow start away. Insomnia, Regigigas cannot go to sleep, but Heatwave coming out, misses Regigigas, going to hit that Cottony and takes out the Cottony, so no more support, but Cottony, I think, has done its job with that Worry
Yeah.
Seed.
You're
Regigigas...
Nashville. You're content with that.
Yeah, Regigigas with the Max Strike and the Grappalock picks it up. That is a big turn for Nashville, I think, because you get the free swap. And the speed drop on the Magmortar, I think, is actually huge.
Yeah, basically nullifying that Choice Scarf that we assume it's carrying, making it so that it might actually be slower than something, but going for the Primarina, which should actually be slower, and seeing the Vaporeon come out to match.
The old
Interesting
trusty
dynamics here.
Vaporeon.
Yep. You bring your franchise, I bring mine. Let's see it. But Regigigas is in such a power position
Yeah,
here.
it's you got 2 of your biggest carries on the Nashville Ninetales side. That's a lot of pressure. Magmortar still faster. Heatwave, a little bit of chip. Will we see a burn? No. Regigigas with Max Strike into the Vaporeon slot. Vaporeon is actually... Did it live? I think it lived.
It lived.
Holy smokes, I'm actually shocked that happened.
Bulky Vaporeon.
Yeah, Primarina. Yeah, Primarina with Energy Ball wipes away the Vaporeon anyway. But that's a lot of resources to get that Vaporeon off the field. And 2 turns of Dynamax for Ninetales in the bag. And here comes the Rillaboom.
Yep, Rillaboom gonna have to do it big for Jersey City back like it did in season 1, the championship season for this team, mind you. But Magmortar still being here and getting another Heat Wave off is kind of concerning. We've seen that this Rillaboom can just start going crazy in these games, and it's getting a bit dicey. Is -2 enough to finally slow it down to where you're moving first on the Nashville side? You'd have to hope so, but
you would.
I'm kind of scared that it's not at this point, honestly.
Yeah, you need that burn if you want to, I think, pull this out if you're JCJ. But both teams are at least Nashville taking their time on this move select. If you get this right, I think you win on this turn. If you don't, I think this is opening the door for JCJ to come back. But JCJ Dynamaxing, this is most likely Rillaboom again for 3 straight games, which is nothing uncommon from this team. They like to have their Dynamax Pokemon, and they love to ride them, and they love to use them to carry themselves through the season. But Rillaboom, maxed here, does have grassy terrain. It has a lot of firepower. What is it going to do? Regigigas faster. Max Hailstorm coming out in the Rillaboom. Will it pick up the KO? No, but it takes it below half health, so significant amount of damage on that last turn. Dynamax. Hail active, a lot of chip. No more focus sashes will be intact. G-Max Drum Solo coming out into the Primarina slot. Primarina goes down, so Magmortar's still alive. That's huge.
Yeah, super important to get that targeting right from JCJ, taking this Primarina out. Here comes the Heat Wave. Can we get that burn?
No burn.
Never lucky.
It's surprising knowing this is Alex not getting that burn on the third one. But the grassy terrain nullifying any chip damage from hail, and that's going to be something to watch for here. But 2 versus 2. Here we go. Volcarona coming out for Nashville, the 4th Pokemon. Regigigas Dynamax over. 2 turns of Dynamax left for JCJ. Who pulls game 3 off?
You gotta like Nashville's position here with the Volcarona that you know is the fastest Pokemon on the field at this point. You've got that guaranteed hit from the Bug Buzz. Rillaboom is below half. But the Max Guard.
Max Guard, huge. Blocking that Bug Buzz. Regigigas with Ice Punch blocked again by the Max Guard. The Magmortar with Heat Wave getting free damage off here. Respectable damage on Volcarona with a huge crit. And no burns again. But here comes the Hail Chip.
Yeah, a huge read from Jersey City to go for the Protect there. Reading into the double. An absolutely huge turn to get those huge chunks off. If one of these attacks or both of these attacks don't KO this Rillaboom here after all this grassy terrain healing, you're in massive trouble as Nashville. And this Regigigas kind of feels like it ran out of steam, even though it got rid of that slow start.
Yeah, it had a great start, but I don't know. The slow start working in reverse? Is that even a thing?
I just think it's tempo. I don't...
Yeah.
obviously mechanically, slow start, not active. That ability's gone, but it just feels like Jersey City took over the tempo here. This Bug Buzz is going to have to KO this Rillaboom.
Has to.
Otherwise, Jersey is going to be in a big trouble.
Goes for the Max Guard.
In big trouble.
Doesn't get it. Bug Buzz will pick up Rillaboom, so it is Magmortar against the world. Does it live? Does it stay alive? Will it be able to keep this series alive for JCJ to give them a chance? Regigigas with Giga Impact. It will connect. Will it be enough? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It's a time. Hey, we do get the burn after all with Flame Body, but it's way too late. Oh, what a game.
What a series. If that double Protect went off, we know that the Giga Impact was targeting into that Rillaboom. Fantastic play out of Alex.
Yeah.
Recognizing the win condition. And you got to feel like Magmortar would have done it there. But
I do. I think it would have.
That's the way the dice roll.
Yeah.
That was don't get that Max Guard.
Yeah.
And Nashville 2-1.
Updating the
better
score.
Predictor.
Hey, 1-0 on predictions this season. That means we're OP. We're the best. 2-1 Nashville Ninetales. Exciting game 3. Exciting series overall. I think the biggest play, despite it being on the losing team, was that Max Guard from Rillaboom, weirdly enough. That's my first impressions here.
Yeah, that was big brain plays out of Jersey City, and it was a type of play that we're not used to seeing from them, looking for those win conditions, not just going for the damage. So excellent growth out of Jersey City that makes me really excited to see where they take this season, but solid, consistent play out of Nashville. You know, that bit of a blunder in game 1, a big blunder in game 1. But coming back, keeping the mental solid, that winner's mentality, that championship mentality of just brush it off, play right, click the good buttons, and he did that. and was rewarded by winning the series and starting his season off 1-0.
What a way to start
Now,
season 7, though.
what a fantastic way. But something I want to pick your brain about is, who's your series MVP?
Oh, that's a big one. Series MVP. Yes, we had Primarina pop off with weakness fallacy. Yes, we had Reggie Gigas carry game 3 and pick up the final KO. Honestly, MVP goes to Volcarona. That thing with Quiver Dance, with the Bug Buzz and Heat Wave. We didn't see Heat Wave, I don't think, in the series, but Bug Buzz being extremely valuable in dealing with this Rillaboom. That's the only thing that kept it in check this entire series. Volcarona is definitely MVP of this series.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I agree. Volcarona did a whole lot without needing the Dynamax, and Primarina kind of did its thing in the early game, but it took out 2 free targets and then got one shot back. It lost all its momentum, and you kind of felt Nashville struggling to get their grips back in the game there. And the same thing happened in game 3, right? The Regigigas came out at Dynamax. It kind of lost its momentum. It sealed the game up, absolutely,
Yes.
but it felt like it lost some of the stuff along the way, whereas Volcarona just came in and it did exactly what it needed to do. But I do know who the actual MVP winner was for the series, and it did go to Primarina for that hard carry performance in game 2.
Yeah, that was a big game 2. We wouldn't have had game 3 if it wasn't for the Primarina carry in game 2. So rightfully deserving as MVP for the series. I know Jacob picked that as the official, and that is the official ruling there, if I remember correct. So,
yep.
Do you have any stats for us, Chris?
Yeah, so Rillaboom was the big monster of the series with 4 KOs and 2 feints, starting the season off with a KD of 2.
Okay.
And followed on the Nashville side by some more consistent play. We had Primarina and Volcarona both at 3 KOs. Prima with 2 feints, Volcarona with only 1. And then Regigigas and Haxorth both having 2 KOs, 1 feint. Magmortar and Golurk were the only 2 other Pokemon in the series to pick up a KO with 1 each. Magmortar faded both times it was brought. Golurk fainted the one time that we saw it as well. We did see Golurk in 2 games. But only fainted once. Because it did win in that first game.
Yes.
So
yes. The Cottony with no attacking moves game 1 felt bad, but Golurk surviving that game. Very good 3-game series here. Fantastic performance for both of our teams. Chris, do you have any final thoughts before we go into our last screen here?
Not particularly. I'm just super excited to be back, and there's not a better way to bring us back in than with a great series like that. Super close, super high level play. Jersey City showing new growth at the start of the season is super promising. Nashville getting their bearings super well here bodes well for the season, and I'm just excited to get to the rest of the games now.
Absolutely. And speaking of the rest of the games, tomorrow night you have yours truly, coach of the West Texas Wingles, taking on my co-host.
Yours truly.
Yes, yours truly, Chris Marks, coach of the Toronto Trick Roomers. 2 perennial powerhouses here in our league, usually fighting for the number 1 seed and the most championships. Chris disrespected me calling a 2-0 for him. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. But we will be playing.
Sweeps, baby.
No weeks of sweeps. If there's a sweep happening, it's in the Wingles' favor, man. But tomorrow night, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Central or 9:30 Central. We'd love to have you here on the channel to come check out and see that match. I promise you it will be exciting. It is the Clash of the Titans, and I can't wait to beat Chris.
Yep. And just a little plug before we get off for the night. If you're watching this on Twitch, go ahead, and if you want to see more content like this, if you're afraid about missing a stream or anything like that, go check out our new YouTube channel that we're starting to fill out this season. The VOD from today, as well as some of our draft prep and our draft review, are already on the channel, and we will continue to upload throughout the season. So go check that out at W&W & Pokemon Draft League on YouTube.com.
Yeah, we are excited to have that up and running. We hope we have good content there. I know we'll have this here. We do appreciate y'all watching this evening, and we look forward to seeing y'all here tomorrow night for the West Texas Wingos versus the Toronto Trick Roomers for the epic Week 1 battle, and guaranteed to have playoff implications there. So,
Yes,
ladies and
sir.
yep, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching. Feel free to follow us on the YouTube channel that Chris has mentioned, and give us a like and a follow there, and a like and a follow here, guys. Thank y'all, and have a great night.